Oh, hi. What's good with it? What's good with it? Audio looking good, sounding good. Of course, just looking through it on YouTube, making sure we are just looking like we're on the right track, looking like we know what we're doing. It's like for the most part, making sure we look like we know what we're doing. But man, 14-day injury list, man. I was struggling. Matter of fact, I'm struggling right now. Give me a second. But thank goodness, so guys like Circle of Debate opening up the doors, allowing me to slide on with them. I believe it was on Monday. We actually hopped on Circle of Debate on Monday for Raw Dog It with Dom and friends with benefits, and that was a whole lot of fun. I actually had to dip out a little bit earlier because I was making tacos. I was like, that's just a go-to. I was like that's just usually my go-to. And of course, our go-to guy, or the reliable one. That should be another nickname for you. The reliable one. You got Justin, the boss, the redeemer. What's good, my guy? What's good with you, brother? How's you living? Uh, I'm scheduling a meeting right now with the devious one, Ivan. That's all I'm gonna say, mainly because I don't know what else there is, to say about it. That's all I know is that me and Ivan are scheduling to, for me to go into the principal's office, as I say. So can't wait to see what, of course, the boy has in store and just what the conversation is. I don't think I've had like a 1v1 conversation with the devious one, Ivan. So that's gonna be a whole lot of fun. But look, if you haven't already, of course, subscribe to Circle of Debate. And of course, I missed like the big important thing today. Happy Easter. Of course, we got a huge day today, a huge holiday. Of course, happy Easter to you too, my boy Justin. What are you doing today? What are you doing? You sliding out of church? Are you just now sliding out of church? Or what are you doing? You watching church on the sidelines? You watching it from home? Are you not a church guy? You just here eating with the family? It's just like I got work. It's like I got to go to work in about 2 hours. It's just like so. And nothing really happening for Easter. This is kind of like a normal day, for the most part. Like, of course, we're always thankful for what we got going on today. It's kind of like it's like Thanksgiving without the food. It's just like, at least for today, for on this side, it's like Thanksgiving without the food. You're thankful, you're happy. Yeah, you still got to go to work. It's like at the end of the day, you still got to go to work. So yeah, Justin, what you got going on? You collecting eggs, or you hiding the eggs from the family, from the little ones, or from the grown folks? It's like I don't know what people got going on. Huge shout out to Justin. He says heading to dinner with the fam in a little while. Man, huge shout out to you, and I hope y'all have a great time, man. I hope y'all enjoy yourselves. Yeah, because man, this has been an absolute amazing film. Now it's opened up. Now it's looking a little better because I was talking about it at the radio station not only today but yesterday. It was just like, man, it don't really feel really Eastery. It's not really a whole lot of Easter spirit going on. Of course it was at the school. At the school we hit eggs with the kids. We had a whole lot of fun with that. But once that was all up, it's just like, all right, Easter's over. It's just like Easter bunny's out of here. All right, let's move on. When the Tooth Fairy coming? It's just like at this point in time, when the Tooth Fairy coming? But look, I hope you guys are having a great time, chilling out with the family, eating some good food. And if you do gotta work, man, make that double OT. As I make that make that extra money for you. Honestly. So even with that, man, I just felt like it was time to talk about wrestling. I just felt like now was just an important time to talk about some wrestling here. Look, it's been a minute since I've been on the heel turn. I was struggling. I was going back and forth with just getting out of being sick. And then as soon as I recovered, just going back to being sick. And I'm like, man, I can't even talk. I was like my voice was still there, but I didn't have any oxygen. It was like I couldn't breathe. It was like every time I was going in and just trying to get my words together, and not only was I stumbling and fumbling, but now I'm just wheezing on you. So it's just like it just wasn't working at all. So I was like, you know what? Let me hold off for a minute. Let me try and stream. See if that works a little bit. The stream was cool, but man, it's just like I don't know. WWE 2K is just so whack. I'm over here getting my titles lost in the ether. It's like I'm losing title opportunities. This is actually the first time, this is actually the first time that I actually I actually won the WWE Championship this like mad early. Of course, winning the Money in the Bank briefcase as well. I was going nuts. I thought this was going to be a great stream, a great season, and I was getting everything stripped from me. I was like, man, this game is glitched up, man. WWE 2K is glitched up. But I still have fun playing it. This like I still have fun playing it. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. So, like I said, I hope you guys are having a great Easter. I hope you guys are having some fun, being with the family. Like I said, hiding the eggs, eating some chocolate. That's what I might do. I might before work, I might just stop to the store, get some Easter candy, and call it a day type deal. But hope you're having a great time with that. And hello, all, and welcome to the Heel Turn Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Jackson Jr. I never said that. This is like, I never started this show off, with the intro. So even going in with all that, what should I start off with, man? I don't even know where to start. I guess I should start off with it. Let's start off with AEW. Let's start off with AEW because a lot of people are really happy about Chris Jericho. Now, I know I said on the side of on WWE's case that Chris Jericho coming in does absolutely nothing for WWE, not for the short term, not for the long term. Like WWE gains absolutely nothing, with Chris Jericho coming into the fray. And honestly, just looking at it now with him sliding into AEW, I feel the exact same way with him coming back. It's like I feel the exact same way with him coming back. Whoa, 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 whoa! Hold up! What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Hold up here. Nah, but huge shout out to my sister. This is my sister here. Look, from far away, and I got beef with it. That's the biggest problem. Look, now we gotta air out some family business. Since we actually came on, we're streaming on Facebook now, streaming on Twitch, streaming on YouTube. I gotta air out some dirty laundry, from the family. I made tacos a couple days ago. Not only did I make it a couple days ago, I made it a couple weeks ago as well. But it was a couple weeks ago that this lady here, said sister of mine, said that it looked like dog food. I was like, wow, dog food. I was like, oh, this my mama's recipe. I was like, this my mama's recipe. I'm learning from my mama here. Like, I can't believe, and I ain't even snitch on you yet. It's like I ain't even snitch on you. I just snitch on you to the world. It's just like so. So now I gotta air this out to my mama. It's like now I'm gonna clip this and send it to moms. Here, get this out here. So yeah, I couldn't take that disrespect here. I got my feelings hurt. Like it's like I got my feelings hurt here. But how you doing? I love you. But how you doing? I'm just clowning here. I'm having a whole lot of fun. Look, I'm just ready to go to not ready to go to work, but I'm just streaming until I have to go to work here. Huge shout out to Justin. He says, genuinely don't know what there is for Jericho to do in AEW anymore. Chris Jericho, like, there is nothing to be excited for with Chris Jericho. Like, you're not getting nothing from him. He's reinvented himself 20,000 times, and I think he's missed the last 5. And at this point in time, like Justin said, what more can you really do? You've held AEW World Championship gold, you've held Ring of Honor gold, you've had multiple factions. As I said, you reinvented yourself numerous of times, and now it's to the point where it's gotten stale. And wow, okay, now it's to the point to where it's just getting stale, and I feel like there's no coming back from that at this point. I mean, I feel like your best bet is to not necessarily cling on to the coattails of someone else, but I feel like you could genuinely be a manager and try to elevate somebody else, because you're not elevating nobody else in the ring. Like if I'm gonna be honest with you, huge shout out to Second Chance. Whoop that trick, man. Huge shout out to Second Chance 11, brother, man. How's you living? I love me some Trick Williams. Trick Williams got to win at Mania. Like, Trick Williams has to win at Mania. I'm still hurt that Sami Zayn actually won, against Carmelo Hayes. We should have got Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams at Mania. Like, at that point, and I understand they're not, that's not at superstardom level, but I feel like you can get something out of that. That's your Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio opening match. Now, of course, it's not going to be bang, bang, high velocity type deal, but there's going to be some history there. There's some meat there. That's going to be your opening match, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. And maybe that's just me having too much, stock in those two guys. And, that's a lot to live up to with Eddie and Rey Mysterio. But, with the history there, and of course, backstory and what we have with them on in ring. Trick Williams has been amazing in the ring, and on top of that, Carmelo Hayes has been absolutely on fire. His back and forth with Ilya Dragunov, the work that he put in with him and Andrade when Andrade was in WWE, and WWE didn't pull the trigger because they're scared, or more specifically, they're just soft, in more ways than one. So yeah, they did. Huge shout out to Justin. They did Mello dirty on Friday. They did Mello dirty, man. Mello don't deserve any of this. Like Mello don't deserve absolutely any of this. He had himself a great year. Like from what he was doing with the Miz, he bounced back big time. From him going back and forth with the Miz, from him kind of being lost in the shuffle, he bounced back big time. And then just for him to get pretty much flatlined by Sami Zayn, and then to just pretty much take a huge back seat, might not even get a Mania match. That's dirty. Carmelo Hayes deserves a WrestleMania match like that. I feel like that's automatic. If Carmelo Hayes doesn't get a Mania match here, then I feel like that's just dirty in itself. Now we're just being disrespectful. The disrespect's at an all-time high, at this point. And actually, let me go back because I would love to talk about the celebrities as well and how the celebrities absolutely suck in WWE, except for Speed. I do like Speed. It's like I do like I Show Speed. And not necessarily the work that he's done in WWE, but I like I Show Speed in the simple fact that he's athletic. He's not entertaining, but he's there to entertain the kids. The kids love Speed, and of course just him and himself. It's not like the Logan Paul type of love or the Logan Paul type of attraction that WWE sees. I Show Speed is more so focused on the or positivity. He's still does a little bit of twerking, but he's doing backflips now. He's traveling to different countries and whatnot. He's out there. So I can understand the backing behind I Show Speed. But you got Jelly Roll, you got Lil Yachty, you got like this is getting out of hand. It's like this is, and then you got to throw Pat McAfee in here, and then I think Pat McAfee just kind of ruined this whole Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes storyline in itself. WWE is doing way too much, and I don't even know if this WWE TKO put them under the same umbrella, because they are under the same umbrella. It's just like they are all to blame, for absolutely ruining the storyline we have between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, because this was supposed to be so much more. All you had to do was tell a story of a mentor and a mentee going head to head, for one of the biggest championships in WWE, or for a championship in WWE. I don't want to say one of the biggest championships, because then you're gonna, you can go back and forth with the world championship that CM Punk has now. I don't want to argue. It's just like I was like, I don't want to argue with you, but you got Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, mentor, mentee, in the grandest stage of them all, fighting for the WWE championship. Randy Orton is just like, man, I don't want to be crazy, but if I gotta be crazy, I'm gonna be crazy on you. And Cody Rhodes is just like, hey man, I'm not gonna out crazy you, but you definitely not finna bully me. This ain't 2013, 2012, whatever this is. Like the story could have just been that simple. But yet we got Pat McAfee saying wrestling sucks. It's just like people miss the Attitude Era. Randy Orton is a ruthless aggression guy. Like, ruthless, like Randy Orton was in the ruthless aggression era. I don't remember seeing, you guys remember seeing Randy in the Attitude Era? I ain't never seen Randy Orton in the Attitude Era unless he was training or unless he was, behind the scenes. I ain't never seen that happen. It's just like, so Pat McAfee being in here just completely just ruined everything that and I'm talking about in terms of hype, just ruined everything that we had, in terms of hype that we have for this match. Randy Orton deserves so much better. They're definitely, and they're treating this exactly how they're treating John Cena's match with Cody, because who was the celebrity guy in that? Travis Scott. and with a little bit of The Rock. It's just like, and now we have Little Yachty. Now we got Jelly Roll. It's like now it's stupid. It's just like it's stupid. Now we got Jelly Roll. Now we got I'm putting Pat McAfee in there too, because Pat McAfee at this point in time, he's not going to be the guy. Outside of that match with Gunther, we're not expecting him to have top tier matches. We're not expecting him to have these. We're expecting him to have one-off matches where there's going to be some high spots, some high points, but nothing too crazy. It's like nothing that is going to just put us over the top, over the moon. But we're not expecting a crazy amount out of Pat McAfee. So yeah, I'm putting him in that celebrity category. I'm not expecting him to do much except for ruin this whole thing that we got going on between Cody and Randy. This could have been so simple. This could have been so simple and entertaining in itself. And WWE just failed. WWE just absolutely failed because they're scared. Like WWE is just showing us day in and day out. They're just scared to tell stories. How about we just put a celebrity in your face to distract you from the fact that we can't make great stories? It's like, or just we got to distract you from the fact that we just can't stay on track in terms of just storyline and story and just storytelling in general. It's getting dirty. It's getting foul, man, and it's sad. It's sad. Hold on, man. I'm dying here. My throat's killing me. Man, I wish I got a check for that. It's like I wish I got a check for doing that, Man. But yeah, I know. Oh, Isaiah, your throat's dry. Drink Coke. That's what you do. Yeah, that's what I do. It's like, yeah, that's what happens. But yeah, they did Carmelo Hayes so dirty. Melo didn't deserve that at all, none whatsoever. And dang, that just got through what I got, what I wanted to get through so quick. Like, I just mold right through there. On top of that, so even moving forward, going into AEW, because that's what I started off with. I started off with AEW. All I saw was whoop that trick, and I was like, oh man, let me go on this tangent here. I was like, let me get on my soapbox here. But Chris Jericho returning is going to do absolutely nothing. If you are hyped about Chris Jericho returning, it's just strictly nostalgia. You are just strictly strung on nostalgia, because what do you expect Chris Jericho to do? Chris Jericho is not going to have a banger match with Kenny Omega. He's not going to have a banger match with Will Ospreay. If he does, Will Ospreay is definitely going to carry it. He's not going to be locking eyes with MJF, having fire matches with MJF. I'm not expecting Chris Jericho to do absolutely nothing on a high entertainment level. And if you do, your expectations are insanely high. It's like your expectations are insanely high, and then we'll just wait and see. And I'll happily, be the first to come on here and tell you I'm wrong. I'm wrong, and Chris Jericho is putting on a great show, but he hasn't done that in about 2 years. It's just like Chris Jericho hasn't been entertaining for about 2 or 3 years, so I don't know what to expect, from the man himself, except for boring matches, either boring matches or boring segments, because that's all he's been contributing to AEW. So for the past 3 or 4 years, 2, 3, 4 years, it's like I'm gonna keep adding years, as it goes on. So Chris Jericho coming in, I'm happy to see that, we finally got an answer as to where he was at and where he's going, and where he was at and where he was gonna go, whether WWE or AEW. But I think you went to the right spot. I think you stayed in the right spot. Honestly, you had no choice. You were locked under a contract. But Chris Jericho, congrats. You coming back. Congrats on your return. But brother, I don't expect you to do nothing. As I said before, I don't expect you to do nothing at all. So outside of that, and outside of Chris Jericho returning, because I was like, I definitely just got to get that. I got to get that off. I was like, I got to get that off with the quickness, man. And of course, you got MJF and Kenny Omega going back and forth. I definitely think that's going to be an entertaining match in itself. This is going to be what MJF needs to bounce back from this ridiculous Hangman Page back and forth rivalry that he was going through. But let's be honest, man. Like, well, I'll get into it later. I'll just get into it later. I don't want to just delve into it too much, but because I do want to talk about MJF, because MJF still does great work. I'm not bored of MJF just yet. I do think of course, it's the same old stuff. You got the same old, everything is for shock value. It's like, MJF isn't gonna be there to speak, nice, heavily things, about you or anything like that. I'm expecting the absolute worst. I'm expecting him to be a menace to society type deal. So, uh, in saying that, I'm expecting the worst out of the worst from MJF in this rivalry with Kenny Omega. I want him to get the win, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on how this is gonna end here. Okay, but I'm still putting my money on MJF. Still putting my money on MJF. So even with that, going out of that as well. Because I was gonna get into MJF and Hangman Page, and of course their Texas death match and whatever that was. It's just like and absolutely whatever that was. I actually seen this list that I wanted to show. So right here you have rank. So we're ranking WWE's and AEW's most gruesome moments in recent history. And so I wanted to touch on this because I'm getting into AEW. This is mainly focused on AEW because AEW is doing the most of this. I haven't seen anything too crazy from WWE. I think the most gruesome match we got was maybe CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, in that Hell in a Cell match. But other than that, nothing, nothing too crazy. So just going into it, number 3, Bianca Belair's broken finger. Yeah, whatever. She's tough. Here's where she. You know what? Let's see. What did she? Nope, no, no. I don't want to see it because I want to get flagged. I lied. It's like I don't want to. I was like, I'll just hold off on seeing that so far. Texas Death Match AEW. Drew McIntyre. Yeah, I talked about that already. John Moxley. With the spike in the back, that was a rough one. Cody Rhodes, of course, just tearing something in his shoulder. Darby Allin with the broken glass. And what I wanted to get at was it mainly is, like I said, specifically coming with AEW. These death matches, these extreme matches have just gone absolutely too far. And I understand there's a fandom for that. I understand there's AEW sickos out there that loves, the violent, grotesque action that we get. But man, brother, this is on national TV. You know what I'm saying? This is on national TV. This is on the pay-per-views. And it's not like this is happening every once in a while. Like Tony Khan is giving it to us sometimes every week. There was a point in time we were getting death matches, blood, spikes, we were getting just a whole lot of nastiness, from AEW at least once a match a week. It was just like, it was getting out of hand. That was one thing I really and that's one thing I really kept wrap my mind around with AEW is that you have a great deal of talent on that roster. They don't need to be doing all that. It's like they don't need to be doing all that. MJF doesn't need to be doing all that. I'm not the biggest Hangman Page fan. Hangman Page doesn't have to do a Texas death match once a month or once every 3 months. Like it's not that deep, my brother. It's just like it's not at all. We don't need Swerve Strickland going through a lot of these matches. I understand you're the most dangerous man, but you could be the most dangerous man in a 1v1 match. It's just like as you showed us in your 1v1 match against Kenny Omega. But man, we're seeing staples, we're seeing glass, we're seeing we're seeing fire. It's like we're seeing people set on fire. We're seeing endless pile drivers, people landing on their heads, and it's just like, brother, these death matches, blood. We're seeing blood, people drinking blood, people drinking each other's blood. Like, come on now. Like, we're doing far too much. There's kids watching. It's like there's kids watching here. And like I said, I understand that there's sickos there. I understand that there's a AEW fandom for people that love that type of thing, but man, you're shutting out people that really have their stomach turning, watching it, that really gets their stomach turned twisted and are not watching that. It's like nobody wants to see needles getting put through people's cheek. It's like nobody wants to see somebody getting drugged through glass. Nobody wants to see anybody land through glass. It's just like we're doing way too much. And like I said, it's happening frequently. It happens so frequently. And it's to the point to where, oh, well, if you don't like it, just don't watch it. Okay, I won't watch it. And then if you don't watch it, you're considered a hater. Oh, you just hate AEW because it's no, I don't. I don't hate AEW. It's not that I don't. It's not that I have a problem with it. It's just like now you're stumbling and fumbling because it's like you don't have a problem. You just don't want to see the death matches. You don't want to see the blood. You don't want to see the insane violence that's sometimes given to you on free TV. And another times you're just paying for it right off the bat. And so AEW, I just feel like the death matches, all that needs to calm down. It's not that deep. We understand you guys are tough, one of the toughest athletes that we know. But like I said, we know that already. You don't have to show us and put that on full display. It's like, and even the people that don't like it, and then we get bullied for not liking it. It's just like, oh, well, you're the problem. I mean, look, my co-host got called gay. It's like my co-host got called gay for saying that he didn't like the death matches and the spike bats and all this other nonsense that AEW was doing. It's just like, what sense does that make? It's like we get it, we get the insults thrown at us, and we get accused for hating wrestling and hating AEW when in actuality, AEW is showing us some crazy stuff sometimes on a weekly basis. It's just like, and 90% of the time, like a lot of your audience, don't want to see that. It's just like, man, let me not say 90% of the time. When a lot of the time, a lot of your audience just don't want to see that. It's a little bit too much. Sometimes it's just a little bit too much. Just calm it down. I just think the death match is just in terms of just going into 2026. We already had what we didn't have too much. See, we didn't have too much in 2026, and I like that. We didn't have too many death matches. There hasn't been a whole lot of craziness going on in 2026, and I like that. But please, let's keep it that way. Like it's just like, please, let's just keep it that way, man. Man, it's just getting out of hand. And of course, I Show Speed. Getting into I Show Speed, he got his hand raised with the Vision after the Vision won the tag titles against the Usos, which was a pretty fun match for the most part until the ending happened. So Logan Paul, of course, United States champion and tag team champion, like he's putting up quite a resume. I always go by titles. I'm like, if you hold like one or two titles, Hall of Famer. It's just like I usually put Hall of Fame, territory with how many championships you stack up, what's your accolades. Oh, well, you did beat Undertaker on a random SmackDown and you held the IC title for a week. Yeah, I think that's Hall of Fame territory, maybe posthumous. It's like maybe I know that's a little dark. It's just like, but still, that's just how I think about it. That's just how I look at things, honestly. And so with that being said, I do love the work that Obafemi and Brock have been putting in. Of course, the back and forth has been so unreal. But man, what they booing Triple H like that for? Why they doing Triple H like that? I mean, I would boo him too if after I seen what Pat McAfee and them was doing. I definitely would boo him. It's like I'd 100% boo him for something like that. Triple H definitely deserved it, but man, they treated Triple H like he was, like he was MJF. They treated him like he was Roman after he beat Undertaker at Mania. Like they booed him out the building. I was like, man, Triple H. I feel I don't feel bad for you. I was about to say, man, Triple H, I feel bad for you. No, I don't. I don't, not one bit. I am happy that we're getting Seth Rollins and Gunther at Mania. I do think that's going to be a whole lot of fun. I want Gunther to get the win there, even though I think Seth Rollins is going to go over. But Seth Rollins, I do think this needs to be, one of your after Mania. This is going to be your bounce back year, your redemption year after Gunther just lays a smackdown on you. Like I said, Gunther has to get this win here. Gunther has been taking L after L after L after L till it was finally about time to start retiring dudes. Until he finally got the chance to start retiring people, getting those boys out of there. It's time to take Seth Rollins out. I don't want Gunther to lose any more momentum than he has at this point in time. I really don't, man. I really don't care about CM Punk and Roman anymore. I don't care about CM Punk and Roman. Just fight already. Here's like I just want to. Yeah, they did start scrapping, but I just want them to get. I just want to get to WrestleMania already. It's like I just really want to get to Mania. Mania has been such a downer because WWE has just been so scared, to push the button on things. It's just like, and there was actually a picture. Lil Yachty got heated at a picture here because Lil Yachty's gonna be out there with Trick Williams, accompanying Trick Williams to the ring. He sent their invitations up here at Mania. Oh man, where's the tweet? They're not showing the tweet, or at least it's not coming up. Here, let me go on Twitter. I'm gonna go on Twitter and find the tweet for you guys because I was actually pretty. I thought it was funny. It's like I thought Lil Yachty getting heated was pretty funny. Let's see here. Because honestly, he deserves it. Like, there's a lot of guys, and it's literally the stupidest thing ever. Like, it's not nothing to be too salty about. Where's this poster? There it goes. Here goes the tweet that Lil Yachty just sent out recently. I believe it's not even a day ago. So right here is a picture of it's a WrestleMania poster. So you got Jelly Roll, Pat McAfee, of course. You got Triple H. You got Tom Brady here, who's been just criticizing WWE or just wrestling to a heavy degree. I Show Speed and Lil Yachty, of course. Lil Yachty with Trick Williams. I Show Speed, of course. He got cursed by Danhausen, and of course, got his hand raised with the Vision. Pat McAfee's with Randy. Jelly Roll's been wrapped up in this whole Randy Orton debacle as well. And Lil Yachty came out and said, I understand y'all upset, but don't try to step on my moment. I'm at a TV screen every Monday and Friday religiously. I've been to more PLEs than most. I probably know more history than most of y'all. Who's to say I don't deserve to be a part of something I love so dearly? Here's the thing. That's just like a weird flex right here, because knowing what's going on and knowing how WWE is just raising their prices to the absolute max. Is I've been to more PLEs than most. Yes, you can afford it, brother. I would hope you've been to more PLEs than most. So I don't have a problem with if Lil Yachty wants to accompany Trick Williams, that's fine. Just don't be a part of the match. That's gonna be my thing. I don't want WrestleMania to be just like it was back in the day, all nothing but celebrities. And now you got celebrities in matches and celebrities interfering in matches, and all that's unnecessary. We don't need all of that. Where's the wrestling? It's like we want to keep it wrestling. Oh, I just bit my cheek. We want to keep it wrestling, strictly wrestling. It doesn't have to be anything else. And that's one of the biggest problems that WWE is having right now. And so I've been so negative here, man. I haven't spoken about anything positive. Just nothing has been positive so far. And honestly, I don't know if I can give you anything positive. I'm struggling. I'm struggling at this point in time. A huge shout out to Justin for retweeting the Hill Turns Twitter. Really, really appreciate you, brother. It's all love there. And I definitely got to get with Circle of Debate as well. I need to get with Circle of Debate. That's going to be the go-to. But look, I definitely appreciate you guys for sliding on. I want to talk about Stand and Deliver tomorrow. I'm going to actually go live tomorrow and talk about Stand and Deliver, get into that a little bit as well, because that was a whole lot of fun. Huge shout out to Lola Vice winning the NXT Championship. That has been so clutch. So Ruka getting the win, of course. Johnny Gargano just being an absolute bum. I'm not a Johnny Gargano fan. It's like not a Johnny Gargano fan. So huge shout out to NXT, Stand and Deliver, putting in a really, really great show, a really fun show. But see, that's the thing. Everybody says y'all hated the McAfee promo because he was talking about you, the IWC. No, he wasn't. Like, no, he wasn't. It was like and somebody actually came in and said it's just the fact that he's involved in a feud that clearly doesn't need him. I've been watching yeah, no. See, that's the thing. Yes, he's involved in a feud that clearly doesn't need him. WWE had literally a layup. This was a softball. Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, World Heavyweight, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes. Man, Let me get my life together. Like this was a slam dunk. This was a softball. I don't know what you want to call it. This was easier as easy can be for WWE. All he has to do, you got Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, WWE Championship, biggest, grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. Here, you can throw that on any kid's lap, and they would do 10 times better than what WWE is doing right now, honestly. And so that's just the depressing part, the depleting part, about this whole thing. WWE had one job, the easiest job in the world, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They're doing solid work with CM Punk and Roman, but like I said, it's getting really repetitive. You already know what to expect out of them boys, so it's not really much you can really say about that wholeheartedly. And that's pretty much it. No, that was pretty. I had to get all that off my chest, especially with the time I got to go to work. So, and I do want to appreciate everybody for jumping in, for sliding on, for hopping in, giving your thoughts, comments, concerns, everything of what's going on. I know it's been kind of slow. I know it's been a little slowish to get my words out as well. Still trying to get the rust off. And on top of that, dude, just got off the shower as well, feeling really good. It's like thinking about work and what's going to go on at work too. It's just like thinking about work and what's going to happen at work. A whole lot going on, but the number one thing I wanted to do today was turn on this microphone. So at some point in time tomorrow, you will see me. If not on this desk, you will see me on Twitch as well. And I'm just trying to find some way to put that on Facebook too. So, we'll try to link that together as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.